I call to order the City of Ocean Shores City Council Study Session meeting on Monday, February 23rd, 2026, from 6:05 p.m. to 9 p.m. We will end at 9 p.m. and we will be taking a break halfway through at approximately 7:30. We don't have official attendance, but I'd like to thank all of the council members for being here. Councilmember Griebel.
Here.
Councilmember Klein.
Here.
Councilmember Scott. Here. Councilmember Wills.
Here.
And Councilmember Dooley.
Here.
And if you don't know and can't see our name tags, I'm Councilmember Denise Sayers, serving as the Mayor Pro Tem. This is a study session, and I'd like to read a script for you, which is talking about the decorum tonight. Many of you may not have been to a study session before, but study sessions are not council meetings. At study sessions, we look at topics that are in depth. There are topics or subjects that we would like to get more information about, and primarily they are for council discussions. In most cases, we do not have public comment for study sessions. The study sessions that we've had before have been an hour before our council meetings. Because of the interest of this topic, as we can see from the room and how many people are here, and let me just also say thank you for your patience in rescheduling this meeting. Because of your interest and your commitment to civic engagement, we knew we could not have the meeting in the previous, our usual council room. We wanted to make sure we had an environment for all of you to give your input that was safe and comfortable. So let me just proceed with talking about Robert's Rules and how we continue. In accordance with Robert's Rules of Order and the city's Rules of Procedure, all participants must conduct themselves in a respectful and civil manner. Comments, when permitted, must be directed to the council as a whole. Personal attacks, abusive language, threats, or disruptive behavior are prohibited. Individuals must wait to be recognized before speaking and must comply with any time limits or directions provided. If an individual disrupts the meeting, I will issue a first warning and request compliance. If the behavior continues, the individual will be directed to stop the conduct or leave. If the individual refuses, law enforcement may assist in removal so that city business may continue. If disruptions persist and orderly conduct becomes unfeasible, the council may order the meeting room cleared as permitted under Washington law. And I am assuming that everyone in this room will be well behaved, and this will not be an issue. And to remind you that removal decisions are based on behavior that disrupts the meeting. They are not based on content of speech. We really are committed to respectful dialogue and open government, so we do ask for your cooperation in maintaining a respectful environment. We'll go ahead and begin the study session now. As I mentioned, study sessions are for discussion. And let me tell you what they are not. They are not for passing resolutions. They are not for passing motions. They are not for approving bills or ordinances. All of that happens at a regular city council meeting, and our city council meeting is tomorrow. The way this will proceed is we will have a presentation from our police chief, Chief Logan, to talk about state and local policy. There are several handouts in our packet which were available for all of you to see online. We will then have a discussion of the council led by Councilmember Griebel, and then after that we will have public comment. If we do not have time for all the public comments, many of you have signed up, then we would ask that you send your comments to us through email, And you may also sign up for public comment at our regular council meeting tomorrow night. We do not want to discourage you from voicing your opinions, but we do need to end this meeting at 9 o'clock. I was going to say 6 o'clock, but no, 9 o'clock. Got it right. We felt that 3 hours was really enough for all of you to sit here, and certainly for us to sit here also. So let me turn it over to Chief Logan.
Good evening. I hope you all had a chance to review the documents provided for tonight's discussion. If you have any questions about those documents, I would be happy to answer the questions after I read my statement. I'd like to take this opportunity to comment on the information provided by Councilman Member Wills. One of his documents stated, "Declaring sanctuary city status is largely symbolic." It went on to say, "Symbols are not empty, and they tell our police officers what their mission is." Now, I'd like to pause right there. I find that statement very offensive. It is telling the police officers, your police officers.
May I interrupt? We would appreciate if you would hold your applause or any of your comments.
It is telling the police officers, your police officers, who are currently working for and protecting the citizens of Ocean Shores 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, that you believe they need to be told what their mission is. As if you don't believe they know what their mission is or what their job duties are. That statement is telling them you don't have faith in them. The written statement goes on to say, "Sanctuary policies reinforce trust-based policing so officers can focus on real threats, not civil immigration matters." This statement would be true if Washington was not already a sanctuary state that codified the Keep Washington Working Act in 2019. Codifying that act created laws that legally prevent your law enforcement officers from assisting federal immigration agents in conducting their duties. Plainly put, police officers cannot get involved in detaining, apprehending, or sharing of information regarding illegal immigrants with federal immigration agents. And if they did, they would be breaking Washington state law, which is a criminal offense, and they would lose their state certification, which means they would no longer be police officers. And I can tell you that no officer here wants to risk losing their job to help federal agents apprehend an illegal immigrant. And to double down on the Washington laws, the law also required all law enforcement agencies in Washington state to put the laws into policy, which we did in 2021. That policy was provided to you with the other documents. And going back to the written statement, which goes on to say, "These policies stabilize the workforce and protect cities from costly lawsuits caused by warrantless detention." Again, law enforcement officers in Washington state are not allowed by law to get involved with apprehending or detaining individuals just because they are illegal immigrants. The Ocean Shores does not have a jail, so that statement really doesn't pertain to us. So what it comes down to is, the statements mentioned by Councilmember Wills could not be more irrelevant to the justification for becoming a sanctuary city. State law already prohibits all Washington state certified law enforcement officers from assisting federal immigration agents. I have read a lot of the comments people have emailed and written on social media in support of making Ocean Shores a sanctuary city. And the comments pretty much mirror what Councilmember Wills provided in his statement. Some of those emails and social media posts had statements that were even more offensive to law enforcement officers. The two big takeaways from the majority of those statements seem to be that the purpose for declaring Ocean Shores a sanctuary city was to tell the officers how they should be doing their jobs to make the citizens feel safer. And the citizens do not want their local law enforcement supporting and assisting federal agents, tying up those resources so officers are not available for an emergency situation that may occur in our city. State law does not allow us to assist federal immigration agents, as I have stated, but that is not to say local law enforcement resources would not be distracted and tied up by their presence here in Ocean Shores. Local law enforcement resources have a possibility of being pulled into one of their raids for a couple of reasons. Those reasons would be if citizens attempt to interfere with the federal agents who are here doing their jobs. If a citizen assaults an agent in any way, such as touching them or throwing things at them or spitting on them or blowing a whistle or a bullhorn directly in their ears, this is the same as assaulting one of us. And that is when local law enforcement will have to step in to protect the physical safety of the federal agents. If citizens block the roadway with their bodies or vehicles or any other objects, preventing the vehicles of federal agents from leaving, then local law enforcement will have to step in. Those are the only reasons we would get involved, and your local resources would get tied up due to federal immigration agents working in our city. I understand there are a lot of people who do not want ICE agents in our city at all due to the unpleasant incidents that have been occurring. You can protest, and you can even record them and yell at them when you see them. You just can't physically interfere with them doing their job. I also know people are concerned the federal agents will come in here completely unmarked with their faces masked, removing people from their streets or their homes. If you witness this occurring, I encourage you to call us, because if they have no markings on their vehicles or themselves, we will treat this as a kidnapping until an investigation proves otherwise. I do want to caution those of you who feel you may need to go out and video record these federal agents and scream and yell and blow your whistles to let everyone know the agents are there. Please be sure you know they are federal agents before you call attention to them, because you may be calling out local law enforcement officers who are attempting to serve a valid warrant, and you may very well be putting those officers at risk by alerting the residents living where those officers are trying to serve the warrant. I say this because during a recent meeting, I learned that the Aberdeen Special Response Team, which has members from several agencies throughout the county, had attempted to serve a warrant on a residence here in Grace Harbor County. Several unmarked cars and one marked county vehicle pulled up near the house. As the officers approached the house, several people started yelling at them and blowing their whistles, believing they were ICE agents. The reason I say this conduct put the safety of those officers at risk is because these people had no idea who they were alerting in that house the officers were approaching. That person or persons inside the residence could have easily started shooting out through the doors and windows from the house, wounding or even killing officers. Luckily, that wasn't the case. But some of those officers had to take their attention away from what they were doing to try and get the citizens to stop and step back away from the other officers who were entering the residence. Those citizens were argumentative and didn't believe the officers were not ICE agents, even though they wore agency patches on their shoulders and it said police on the backs of their vests and jackets. And they thought the marked vehicle that was there was a local agency there to assist the ICE agents. I haven't had any confirmation that federal immigration agents have been in our city or even in the county. I have heard a lot of rumors, but no confirmations. But I implore you to just let them do their job and stay out of their way. Take out your phones and record all you want, and call us if you feel that something is wrong, but do not interfere, because you really don't know if you are interfering with federal agents or local law enforcement. Either way, we are all just doing our jobs. Now, it has also been brought up that the cities of Olympia, Burien, and Seattle have already taken steps to declare their cities as sanctuary cities by resolution or ordinance to make their communities feel safer. But what wasn't mentioned is that the city of Olympia signed their resolution in December of 2016, and Burien signed theirs into ordinance in January of 2017. Both were over 2 years prior to the Keep Washington Working Act being codified. They took their actions before Washington State made it a law. And Seattle signed their resolution in May of 2025, which was after the state made the law, but was months prior to all the major incidents ICE has been involved in. So in conclusion, what Councilmember Wills stated about making Ocean Shores a sanctuary city being largely symbolic, I would agree. And that is all it is, and would be, is symbolic. Local law enforcement will not be doing anything differently than what they are doing now. They will continue to do their sworn duties to protect this city and those who enter it. I personally see it as a waste of time because you cannot change local laws in any way that would be enforceable on federal agents. They will still come into this city and do their jobs as needed under the authority of federal laws. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Logan. Council, questions, comments? Councilmember Wills.
Thank you. First, I want to express my appreciation for all of you being here. The fact that you're all here and all of the hundreds, over 100 emails that we've received indicates just how important this subject is to you, the community. I also want to apologize to the police chief and all of the police officers. I never intended to insult any police officer. I've lived here for a little over 9 years and have been going to city council meetings. I've missed 3 city council meetings in 9 years. At every opportunity, I have expressed my gratitude for the hard work and the diligence that our police force offers the community. I intended no umbrage, but it highlights just how imprecise English language is. So I'm not an orator. I'm not a Shakespeare. I do my best to understand the language and use the language. My intent, as I made that statement, was not to tell the police officers what to do, but to inform us, the public, of what the police officers' role is. So if it was taken other than I intended, again, my apologies. I do the best I can with the language and the impreciseness of our language. I also want to thank the police chief for all of the information that they included in this packet. It was enlightening, to say the least, and it has helped shape what the decision that ultimately I will make after I hear what all of you have to say. So I'm not going to jump out in front and say I have decided. Notice when I made the motion that what I motioned was a discussion. And a discussion to me is a fact-finding. It's not a presupposed, this is what I'm demanding. That would be a resolution. I did not make a resolution. I asked for a discussion about, do we want to consider a resolution? And that consideration I made because of the concern that I heard from the 7 or 8 or 9 people who voiced their concerns at the January 27 council meeting. So my statement reflected my concern, and I appreciate Chief Logan bringing up the dates that those other cities enacted their resolution. I also noted that and intended to address that. It indicates to me how important those other communities thought that protecting their residents from over-aggressive federal intervention is to those communities.
Richard, do you have any questions for Chief Logan while she's here?
No.
Does anybody else have questions? Councilmember Grebe.
And Chief Logan, thank you for that information. I have a couple of questions about what you provided in the packet, and I would encourage anyone that hasn't had the opportunity yet to look at that information our chief provided. It is in the online packet. It is great information. But a couple of questions. One came from the Ocean Shores Police Department Policy 413, the immigration violations. It was 413.7 training, and it says the training sergeant should ensure that officers receive training on this policy. So could you just address how your department familiarizes themselves with what you talked about?
It's basically reviewing the policy. When it is issued, it's documented when they have reviewed it, and they acknowledge that they have reviewed it and understand it. And as long as they are not asking questions about it, then we assume that they understand it. And it's the policy is pretty clear. I don't see that there would be any questions out of it because it's pretty clear, pretty cut and dry.
Are there any other questions from council? Councilmember Klein?
So from what I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that our police department can no way interfere with the federal agents when they come in. You cannot stop them from doing their job, correct?
Correct.
We are a sanctuary state, so anything that applies, the laws are already in place, correct?
Correct.
And we can't change those laws.
No.
So Chief Logan, I'm going back to the packet that you provided, and you did like a summary at the end of it, and I think you eloquently kind of summarized it just now, but I was wondering do you have the packet in front of you, or can I read what you wrote? Because I thought it was pretty eloquent. It was on page 13 of 47 at the end. I don't want to speak for you.
Go ahead and read it.
I can go ahead and read it.
Yeah.
And so Chief Logan provided just kind of a summation of the sanctuary city designation, just some information about pros and cons, or how the police department was already going. But she summarized it with, from the perspective of the Ocean Shores Police Department, existing state law, department policy, and established operational practices already define and limit the role of local law enforcement in immigration-related matters. As such, a municipal designation would not result in a change to police operations, enforcement authority, or public safety service delivery. So I thought you really summarized that nicely there. So that's why I wanted to just restate that for you.
Well, I'm not going to take credit for that. It was actually Deputy Chief Vesco that wrote that statement. So,
Thank you, Deputy Chief Esco. Any other questions from council? Okay, thank you, Chief Logan. Let's proceed now on to the discussion from council. So will you lead us in that, Councilmember Griebel?
Thank you, Denise. I appreciate that. I'm so excited to have our discussion tonight in front of such a large audience. I think the last time I led a city council discussion years ago, it was on the change to the nuisance ordinances. And we had a great council study session, but the crowd was small enough, we all fit, I think it was a meeting room at the Canterbury. And there was no elevator, you had to climb the stairs to get up. So it's just awesome to see what a great involved crowd we have tonight. So let's talk about our council discussion. I want to be transparent that I really hate the crescent moon shape when we're having discussions, because I have to lean and look. So when you're talking, you have to make sure when you lean to look at someone that you're still talking into the microphone. But what we're going to do is give each of our council members an opportunity to make a statement. And once everyone has made a statement, if you don't have to make a statement, but this is an opportunity to share your thoughts or feelings, any other research that you've done, or maybe comments based upon other phone calls you've had or emails that you've been reading. And then after that, we'll open it up to a more informal questions that we have for one another, or anything clarifying comments based on what we've heard from each other. So because Councilmember Wills made the original motion just to have this conversation, I would like to start with Councilmember Wills, and then we'll go to Councilmember Dooley and go this direction.
Thank you. So I said almost everything that I wanted to say in the agenda packet. My position is very clear, and I still have not made up my mind whether or not taking the role of a sanctuary city is a good thing or a bad thing. A lot of that final decision rests on what you people have to say. So if you want to know more about what I had to say, read the agenda packet and read my 4 pages that I submitted in there. And yes, I submitted those sample sanctuary city resolutions because I wanted us all to see what other communities have thought was important to say in their sanctuary statements. So I'm eager to hear what you people have to say, and then to have a actual discussion about whether or not what you have to say and what we have learned from the agenda packet implies or means that we should or should not make pass a resolution to create a sanctuary city status. At no place did I say, let's make a resolution. What I did say is let's talk about it, and that's what we're doing now. So that's all I've got to say. Thank you.
So Councilmember Dooley.
For me, this issue comes down to 3 practical questions. Do we have the authority? Is it necessary? And will it actually help Ocean Shores? When I look at those questions, the answers are pretty straightforward. Immigration enforcement is primarily federal. State law already sets the boundaries for local governments. And our police department already has policies in place that protect victims and witnesses and that prevent officers from asking about immigration status unless it's tied to a criminal investigation. I also want to be clear about the lens I'm using here. As a city council member, my role is to evaluate issues based on legal authority, jurisdiction, and practical impact. Questions of fairness, morality, or broader national policy are important, but they are not decisions the city council is empowered to make. My responsibility is to govern within the law and focus on what we can actually control at the local level. So, adopting this designation doesn't expand our authority, it doesn't address a demonstrated local problem, and it doesn't provide a clear practical benefit to the city or our residents. Instead, it adds a new layer of complexity and expectation without altering our legal responsibilities or improving public safety outcomes. One issue I do want to address directly is the definition of a sanctuary city, because that question comes up often, typically framed as the idea that those who don't support it simply don't understand what it means. What I've observed over the past few weeks is that the definition varies depending on who is describing. Some view it as symbolic. Others expect specific operational change. Others anticipate broader policy commitments. There is no single settled definition being used. The examples included in tonight's packet reflect that. From city to city, they are not consistent with each other. They range from symbolic resolutions to binding ordinances to more expansive policy frameworks that include operational directives, training requirements for all city staff members, and in some cases, ongoing commitments of city resources. In a few of those examples, the language goes beyond clarifying existing practice and moves into sustained administrative and staffing obligation. That distinction matters because once a city adopts a label, it carries different expectations in different places. It creates pressure to reinterpret, expand, or amend the policy over time. This isn't about better wording. It's about whether we want to step into something that invites continual expansion and reinterpretation. Adopting a label without a single fixed meaning introduces ongoing ambiguity, and that kind of uncertainty is not something I believe serves the city, our staff, or our residents well. When I ran for this office, I promised to focus on public safety, meaning the things we actually control: police, fire, EMS, and emergency preparedness. That's where my attention stays, because those are the services that directly affect our residents every day. I've also heard concerns about the constitutionality of certain actions taken by immigration officers, and I take those concerns very seriously. I swore an oath to uphold the Constitution, first in the military, and again when I took office here, and that oath never expires. But determining what is or isn't constitutional is the role of the courts, not a city council. Our responsibility is to work within our jurisdiction and govern responsibly. To those who support this proposal, please know that I respect the compassion behind it. I simply don't believe this action is necessary or that it will make a meaningful difference here in Ocean Shores. And after tonight, my hope is that we remember we're still neighbors and continue treating each other with respect, even when we disagree. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Sires, it's your opportunity to weigh in.
Thank you. I did not prepare a statement, but I can tell you that first of all, I'm extremely grateful for everybody who came today. I wish we had done this in a different way. There are many documents, whether it's the documents provided by Councilmember Dooley, Wills, or our police chief, and I think it would have been benefited us all to see those documents before taking on a social media war, where, as Kurt already said, there is no definition of sanctuary city. And I think if we had done this in a more systematic way, we could have addressed some of those issues, including what our city already had policies on, what our police already had in place, and have a better understanding of the state requirements that we are under. So I think that would have benefited us. However, on the other hand, I think having this opportunity to hear from all of you, we have heard for over 100 people in emails, and all I can say is, wow, I wish you were that concerned about our water mains and our sewers, and come to more city council meetings to get involved in what we are doing on a daily, or I should say bi-weekly basis. Again, Councilmember Griebel read something from the police department, and I'll read where it says, in just a little bit different words, Washington state law already establishes a comprehensive statewide framework governing immigration-related enforcement, and the Ocean Shores Police Department operates fully within that framework. As a result, adopting a separate municipal designation would not change existing enforcement practices or provide additional legal protections beyond those already in place. And I do believe that. I also wanted to mention that I think there is some confusion that I have seen, and I am trying to stay off social media, so that's why you don't see me commenting very much. I think there is a distinction between the actions of ICE in Sanctuary City and what our law is. There are many of us who may not agree with how ICE is performing its duties, but nevertheless, that is different than what we are dealing with today here.
Councilmember Klein.
I, like Councilmember Sires, didn't prepare a statement. However, I think with the information we have that we are a sanctuary state, we do have the laws that are in place. We do know legally what our police officers are allowed to do and not allowed to do. And I think that makes a difference that we need to understand. One of the things in our packet that tell me something?
Excuse me, technical difficulties.
So, one of the things that I read in our packet that I had actually read online several weeks ago was from the Washington Association of Sheriffs and Police Chiefs. And something that stood out to me with that was, and I want to read this quote, "We understand that some Washington communities are experiencing uncertainty, fear, and tension regarding federal immigration enforcement actions and related protests both nationally and in our state. We want to reiterate the clear difference between the jurisdiction of local law enforcement and federal immigration activities. In accordance with the Keep Washington Working Act, local law enforcement in our state does not conduct civil immigration enforcement. No one in our state should fear contacting their local law enforcement for help due to their immigration status." And I think that clearly defines what can and cannot be done. People should not be afraid to contact local law enforcement for any need that they have. But they need to understand our local law enforcement is also not going to go in and assist federal agents with whatever their duties are. They also legally cannot go in and try and stop them from doing their job. So I think it's important. Chief Logan, thank you for all the information you brought because it really cleared a lot of questions I had. Thank you.
I'm just wondering if your mic's going to work. Councilmember Scott, let's try your mic.
I stole the chief's mic, so. I just want to, I think Councilmember Dooley kind of hit it right out of the park with his statement. And one of the things that I have been most disheartened about is, as a community, how we're treating each other. And what happened to the point where we could respectfully disagree and go have a cup of coffee or a beer at the end of the day. And we've lost sight of that. And it's sad because we're all neighbors. We're here for the betterment of our community. And we should be able to state our opinions without somebody yelling or screaming or name calling. That's what we're about as a community. Let's stand apart from everybody else and let's be respectful. With that said, I appreciate everybody being here tonight, and I've appreciated keeping it off of Facebook. I, for one, don't get on there and comment because I just don't think it's a place to have a civil conversation. I'm so thankful for all the people that supported and sent emails to us. I read them all. I like to hear what you have to say. Look at the amount of people that showed up tonight. It shows that you're passionate and you care about our community. And as was said, I wish that we got as many people out when it came to talking about water and sewer rates or when it comes to talking about EMS. Those are the issues that we deal with every single day as council people representing you. We want to take care of the city. I want to make sure that it's well survived, 1,000 years after I'm gone. That's what we're here for, is making the city a better place. So I appreciate all of you and thank you for coming out tonight.
So we've all had a chance to say a few words. Did anybody hear anything and like to either ask somebody else a question or make another comment? What? Richard raised his hand. I'm surprised. Richard, what would I like to say?
So I agree with everything that every single council member has said. I also believe that the things that Mr. Dooley read, he did it, that was eloquent, and I have thought of all of those things. But remember, the motion I made was that it was about symbolism. And in my mind, symbolism is important. It's why we say pledge allegiance to the flag. It's why some of us wear wedding bands. It's why we take marriage vows. Those are symbols. The court says that we're married, but the vows are a symbol. And so in my mind, symbolism is a very important thing. And the reason I posed the original request for this discussion is, do we, the council, think that that symbolism warrants, as other communities have done, taking status as a sanctuary city or not. And that's a council decision. That's not a Richard Wills decision. I believe very, very, very strongly in the democratic process. I said when I applied for a council position and when I ran for a council position that I believe that what the majority has to say when all of the members are speaking from a place of integrity, that the council will always make the right decision. I stand by that. And if the council says no, that the symbolism doesn't outweigh all of the other factors, I am happy to agree with that. I just want to hear the discussion from you to decide whether or not the symbolism that I talked about carries enough weight to make a resolution. So I'm eager to hear what you people have to say.
Thank you, Councilmember Wills. Does anyone else, council members, have a comment or a question for any of our other council members?
Yeah, I would just like to say I agree with Councilmember Wills in terms of listening to the public. I think we also need to balance those who have written to us, which have shown a particular majority of opinion, with the people being here. We certainly appreciate all of you who have taken the effort to be here and to sit in a crowded room for 3 hours with us, but that we also have to listen to who have written us.
Thank you. And before I turn this back over to Mayor Pro Tem Sires, just a reminder to all of us that we represent everyone in our community, whether it's, we're tasked for the health and safety of the people that live here, people that own property here but may not live here full time, people that work in our city, people that visit our city. And while we have a very engaged and active community, that's great, there are a lot of people who live here or work here or visit here who are silent or don't feel comfortable letting us know what their opinions are, or maybe they're afraid to let us know what their opinions are. So just a reminder that we represent everyone, and we also have to think about who hasn't spoken and what maybe they might think or feel. I, again, love our public comment that we have at city council meetings. I'll enjoy listening to public comment tonight, but everyone has the right to say what they think or feel. That's their First Amendment right to do that. And I look forward to hearing that, but please remember those people who aren't here tonight or are unable to make a comment or send an email or are afraid to do that.
I just wanted to echo Lisa on that, because I think as council members, that is the challenge that all of us feel, is that sometimes we hear from a minority, sometimes we hear from a majority, and I hate to use the term silent majority because that has such a bad connotation, but that really is our challenge, is to try to figure out what is best for our community and to represent our community in all its diversity. Okay, it looks like we are ready for a public comment. Excuse me, the question was whether we should take a break now, but I think we'll take one at 7:30. Based on the number of public comments we have, it looks like we will be here until 9 o'clock. The public comment time is intended for communication to council regarding the topic at hand. Please address your comments or questions to the city council body, not to an individual member or to city staff. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes and state your name and address, and by address I mean your city. We don't want to put anyone at risk here. We do request that your comments be respectful and we ask that you refrain from personal attacks, abusive language, and/or disruptive behavior. We really want to give everybody a chance to listen and a chance to speak. This is not, however, a question and answer time, and the council cannot engage with conversation with the public. It's our time to listen to you. No person may make the public comment for the purpose of campaign or advertising. The City Council will begin the time once a citizen has stated their public comment. At 2 minutes, you will see the green light. And Allison, for those of you who haven't been to council, that's the little gizmo that we use. At 2 minutes, you will see the green light, followed by a yellow light indicating 30 seconds remain of the public comment period. The red light will notify the reader that the public comment time has ended. The order of public comments are individuals attending in person, and if everyone takes their 3 minutes, we will not necessarily get through everybody today. However, if we do not get through everybody, we would encourage you to come to our city council meeting to continue your public comment or to, again, email us with what your comment is. We do have 2 requests for online public comments. Okay, Lisa, who's first?
I'm so excited to get to do this. It's pretty, you know, I've been a high school principal for a long time, but I got my training originally as an elementary teacher. So I'm hoping that means I can read everybody's writing. I can read your writing. If I can read a first grader's writing, I'm hoping I can read your name. So our first up is Deborah Tyner.
Hi, my name is Deborah Tyner, and I want to start off with I'm against the sanctuary city. And I'd like to tell you a little story why. I'm standing here for a 9-year-old little girl that was walking to club, which is an after-school program, when a 5-time felon decided that he wanted to pull her behind a trailer and take her into an old, dirty pickup truck camper and molest her, and was going to refuse to let her go. But out of the grace of God, with her begging and saying, I need to go home to my little brother, he let her go. That's not the end of the story for this little girl. She suffers to this day. Her innocence was taken away from her, and there was no excuse for it. And the reason why this man came back 5 times is because the town was named a sanctuary city. Don't think it happens only in big cities. This town only has 2,071 members. They don't even have a local police department. The sheriffs come in if there's a problem. But this little girl was put in a police car and taken 45 minutes to a hospital where she was there violated, doing their DNA testing, stripped of all her clothes, and I'm sorry, this is really hard. And what they do to these children is a process they have to do, but it is also a violation to the little children when they don't understand why it's happening to them. She is suffering to this day. She's scared. She will not sleep by herself. She wets the bed. And this is a thing that she's been doing since she was 6 years old. It's in a small little community trailer court, and she was walking from here to like that exit sign, but he had been stalking her. For you guys to think that labeling or symbolizing or whatever you want to call it, this town a sanctuary city and no one would come here, you're wrong. That's what they thrive on. That's what they look at. That's when this man, Manuel, 30-year-old man, takes a 9-year-old girl and doesn't think anything's going to happen to him because he's in a sanctuary city. It's disgusting. It's sick. Why would we want to label our town that? I wouldn't want to have any part of it.
That's time.
Thank you.
Please refrain from any applause or comments while our speakers are speaking.
All right, next is Michael Tyner.
I'll try to make it short. I am Michael Tyner, and I'm a retired respiratory therapist. I've also been in law enforcement. I want to say thank you for the explanations we received today. It gives a lot clearer understanding what's going on here. We bought property here probably about 14 years ago to bring our grandchildren and our children to vacation. Since then, my wife and I have retired, and we've moved into the community. We live here now. We're residents. We love the community. We love the people. And this is a great place to be. I see a lot of things going on in the community that are concerning to me. I think the big concern here should be is how can we make this place better and attract more, people to come in and spend money here and that sort of thing. And I think it'd be great if we concentrate on that. So I want to address the idea of designation or symbolism. We already have a divided country, and it's a shame it's that way. A left and a right that are very strongly determined about what they believe in. And so we have to be careful that we don't do things that create more conflict in the community. And that term, sanctuary city, may mean one thing to one person. It may mean something else to someone else. But as has already been explained here, this is a sanctuary state. The officers are going by rules that have already been given to them that they have to abide by. And I think they're probably doing a pretty good job here. My concern is we do not want to invite anything into this city that would create more of a problem here. And while, the term sanctuary city may seem good and positive on one hand to certain groups of people, to the negative element, it may seem like a golden opportunity, as my wife had just mentioned. We don't want to do that. We want to work on making this place a desired place for people to come and be safe. We have a lot of seniors that come and retire here that are looking for a safe place to be and enjoy their golden years. I'm one of those. I want my family to be able to come visit me in a safe place and a place they enjoy spending times in vacation. We do not need the term sanctuary city to make that happen. That's unnecessary.
Please, no applause for any of the speakers.
So thank you again for listening to my comments. And I say, get on with a good job of making this community great. But we don't need to go that direction. This is already a sanctuary state. It's already been made that way. And I believe that's going to turn around. That's my personal opinion. I'm not a racist. I think everybody deserves a free.
That's time.
I will start asking people who are applauding to be escorted out by the police. The idea is to listen to everybody, to give them the opportunity to speak without any criticism or without approval. So please be respectful of those who have signed up and who want to give their own opinion.
All right, next up is Jerry Castle.
Good evening. My name is Jerry Castle, and I've lived in Ocean Shores for almost 4 years. Millions of illegal aliens entered the United States under President Biden administration. Among those were human smugglers, gang members, criminals, rapists, terrorists, and there are government officials that are violating and obstructing and defying the enforcement of federal immigration laws. Last time I checked, federal law supersedes all local and state law. Many cities are filled with lawless insurrectionists that oppose the federal government constitutional authority to protect the territorial sovereignty of the United States. Massachusetts is a sanctuary state that released illegal aliens accused of raping kids back into the community and refused to hold them for ICE. Jose Ibarra was arrested and released twice before murdering Laken Riley. Philadelphia ignored an ICE detainer and released a previously deported illegal alien from Honduras and then raped a child. Sanctuary city mindset give right away to the national security risk and ignore federal criminal laws and harboring illegal immigrants, justice, and plotting to weaken the United States law enforcement. Sanctuary cities are more concerned in protecting illegal immigrants instead of the victims. There is absolutely, this is absolutely revolting and disgraceful to our country. I am opposed to a sanctuary city.
All right. Next up is Mary Mitchell.
Mitchell. I'm speaking on behalf of myself, my husband, and my son. I retired from a California law enforcement agency in 2002, and we moved to Ocean Shores. My son attended school here and graduated from North Beach. We left for a couple of years and then returned in 2022. I'm not concerned about Ocean Shores being labeled a sanctuary city, as we live in a sanctuary state. It would be nice, but not necessary. There's a misconception about what is the definition of a sanctuary city. It is defined as, refers to a policy that limits or defines the extent to which a local or state government will share information with federal immigration law officers. It doesn't mean that we sanction criminals. It does not mean that. I believe it is important to clearly and succinctly define what the policy of the city is in regards to ICE and whatever other federal officers may come to our city. While it appears that we do have policies in place, I believe our city council should put forth a community trust policy. It's not meant to tell the officers what to do or how to do their job, but to make it known to the residents of what those policies are. A community trust policy would clarify local policies and procedures. It should clearly define that federal officials do not utilize our city resources, such as law enforcement, fire, city employees, council members, mayor, or buildings for any of their operations. We need this so residents and visitors feel safe in our city. Visitors and residents should feel safe and confident in our local law enforcement and that they will not be concerned about anyone's immigration status. All people should be able to trust rather than fear. So my request is the City Council put forth a resolution or proclamation defining that community trust. I hope that you will all approach this with an open mind and haven't already made up your mind. Thank you.
Next up is Tenny Jones.
Hi, I'm Tenny Jones. Thank you for your time. And first thing I want to say is I'm going to be quick because I think everyone in here should have a chance to speak. I don't think I need 3 minutes. My first statement is you guys have made a good argument about how this isn't, we're already in a sanctuary state. I get it. Sorry that the police officer feels that we have offended you by asking for a sanctuary city or any of that. Not everyone has had positive experiences with police officers. and not everyone in this town is white. I've lost my voice. What I'm trying to say here is, I've so forgotten your name, ma'am. Officer Logan. I appreciate you, and I appreciate you, Chief, too. And I appreciate the job that you do, and I know it's not easy. But trust with the police department isn't something I naturally just give over. My own husband has had his nose broken for a license plate light being out in another state. So I am apprehensive of driving in a car with him in any other state than Washington. And one of the reasons I feel safe in Washington is because it is a sanctuary city. It is a sanctuary state, excuse me. And I guess I just wanted to say, as a person who does not get on social media, I'm allergic. It gives me rage and hives. I encourage all of us, please love each other. Can we just remember love? We all live here because we love this place. We came here willingly. Most of us, I suppose. Again, my concern is not that we become a sanctuary city as much as it is that we define if this is a safe place, that we can have confidence in the elective officials and in the police department. But not everyone just gives that over blindly. I mean, people that have known you, Officer Logan, I'm sure they trust you greatly. I trust you because I've had an experience with you where I learned to trust you. But not everyone feels that way. And on that note, symbolism is important. Again, to refer to the flag and the pledge that you guys take before every meeting. If it weren't important, we wouldn't do it. The symbols that you wear that display what we believe in, those things that show what we stand for, those things make these tourists that you guys want all this money from, that makes them feel safe here. The tourists want to feel safe too. And so do the visitors. And not everyone here is retired, although I am. Not everyone here is older and waiting to, roll over. There are young people in this town. And not all of them feel safe here. They don't feel safe to speak. Like you said, not everyone is going to speak, and there are those who are silent. I am speaking on some of those people's behalf as well. I just want to say, I understand for 30 seconds, I'm asking for a clear plan. What happens if these masked ICE agents come? If ICE comes unmasked, that's fine. If they come masked, they're going to have a problem. I would like to know where you stand. I'm telling you where I stand. I'm ready to defend my neighbors, my family, and my friends. I want to know I can trust you and have faith in you. Also, that public trust confidence thing would be much, much more better than the sanctuary city, which seems to have upset a lot of people. I just want a plan. I'm about emergency action. I want to know what's going to happen. Thank you.
That's time. All right. Next is Alex Van Wert.
I came here to Ocean Shores in 2019, right at the start of the COVID pandemic. And at first, I hated it here. I was upset from being taken from my home. But I grew to love this city, the people here, the community here. I love just being able to say hi and not get someone trying to attack you for that, like I did back in Spokane. But I'm sad to say that I am ashamed of this city. I'm ashamed to live here. Simply because I don't know if I can trust that we're going to do the right thing. Believe me, I have all the respect for law enforcement. I have good friends in law enforcement, and every day that I am able to see them, I'm happy to see them alive. I'd like to have more power to our law enforcement, our city law enforcement, specifically so they can do their job. When someone comes into America and commits a crime, that is a crime that is not about who they are, or it is about who they are. It's not about their skin color. So arresting every single brown person we see under pretense that we're doing the right thing is just racist. It is just wrong. I want to know that this city, if a unmarked van comes in and starts taking people, like my significant other, like my father who works on rooftops all day, He gets a good tan. I'm not sure if some of these people would tell. And frankly, I fear to leave my house. I just don't want to get Alex prettied. Thank you very much.
All right, next we have Lillian Broadbent.
Lillian Broadbent, Ocean Shores. First, I want to say thank you to this council. I'm sure you didn't sign up for a three-ring circus. We should have, based on what I've heard tonight, this could have all been accomplished in a normal setting, a normal city council study session. But instead, it got grabbed by social media and cast out to the winds. And we have mayhem. I'm sitting here with people all around me, talking as others are talking, showing disrespect for people. That is not what you intended. Chief Logan, your explanation was wonderful. And I think had that been given in a normal setting, much of the angst could have been avoided. But nevertheless, we're here tonight. And again, I want to thank the City Council. I believe it was 100% correct to bring this up. We have people in our town that are afraid. We have legal immigrants here who feel that they need to carry their papers around. That's wrong. And it should not. It's an attitude that shouldn't invade my little town. We have, I've had no reason to believe that our police force has been anything but fair and above board. If we have Helens around, I want them gone. If we have other folks around who are in sanctuary status or some other status, I want us to respect that status. Now, that may no longer be possible. And to the council members, I applaud those who have stayed off social media. And I am concerned about those who have made up their minds and made it known on social media. We aren't there yet. You're in a study session. If and when there is a resolution, then there's something to agree or disagree with. In the meantime, please continue with your fact-finding. And thank you for the presentation, the information provided tonight.
All right, next up, I'm going to try this name. The last name is Heisel, and it looks like it's Thane Heisel.
First of all, I want to thank you all for your service to the city. With a name like Thane Heisel, you can only imagine the things that my name has been construed as. I want to read a quote that really impacts me. It says, "The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing." Anybody who comes into this country illegally is breaking the law. I'm all for immigration. My family came here to Ellis Island many, many, many years ago. This country was built by immigrants. The immigrants that come here illegally are committing a crime. There comes a time when I have to be proactive and not sit on my recliner with my dog in my lap, watching whatever program my wife and I are watching on television. I am adamantly against the possibility of Ocean Shores becoming a sanctuary city. Thank you.
All right, next up is Randy Johnston.
Hi, my name is Randy Johnston. My wife and I are property owners and voters here in the city of Ocean Shores. And I appreciate you guys taking the time to get public input on this very important discussion. I'll make it short and sweet. We are adamantly opposed to being a sanctuary city. Thank you.
All right, next up is Vince Heimbach.
I want to thank the council for hearing us. I don't envy your position. I'm a retired in Ocean Shores homeowner, registered voter. I love this community. It has been a very safe community to live in, and I do not want to see that changed in any way. I don't believe the symbolic nature of making a sanctuary city will be beneficial. In my experience of 45 years in construction, working in the Pacific Northwest, I have seen the beautiful city of Seattle, unfortunately a sanctuary city, giving its public spaces to the homeless encampments, their parks to the homeless encampments, where there has been rape, even murder, open drug use. And I do not want to see Ocean Shores become a magnet to draw that population here. Regarding ICE wearing masks, they wear masks to protect their families. It has been on social media where their families have been threatened, and they have been told that if they can be tracked down and attack their families, that's why they wear masks. I don't believe the rioters that use their cars to attack the ICE agents or throw bricks at the ICE agents are considered peaceful. I am adamantly opposed of Ocean Shores becoming a sanctuary city in any way, shape, or form. I have spoke to at least 10 residents of Ocean Shores. 8 out of 10 agree. 1 disagrees, and I respect their decision to disagree. I don't agree with them, and one of them just simply doesn't know. But I have seen firsthand the devastation and destruction that happens to a city from becoming a sanctuary city. And I do not want to see that happen here. I'm adamantly opposed.
Next up is Mary Batiste.
Hi, my name's Mary Batista. I'm going to make this real simple. I'm against it. My husband's against it.
Up is Bill Long.
Thank you for allowing me to be here, and thank you for your comments all around. I will say this, that we have to count the cost, and that's important. There's costs involved with any change or any additions or takeaways in any government. And the impact for us is, by definition, what's it going to cost the city financially to make this decision? Now, this would also impact what will it cost the tourism in this town? What will it cost the average person that loves this town and lives here? I've been here since 2000, I should say, and I like it here. I've always felt safe, and I still assume that the council will do the right thing, and that's what is important. Reputations are also important. Reputations as individuals, as cities, whatever the, certainly even the businesses that are here. That is to be considered. One of the things, too, I want to think about is what would this impact for the homes that are part-time filled, the snowbirds that go away. This would be a challenge for the police officers to try to protect them, perhaps a little bit more if there were others here that were not part of the city. And certainly even those that are weekend homes. I think we all are concerned about squatters, and maybe that would be a concern. I'm not sure how to define that. I didn't mention it, but I'm the pastor of a Baptist church here in town, the second oldest church in Ocean Shores, been here since the year 2000. And what happened in Minneapolis with a church has me concerned. We had asked the police department to give us advice as to how we could protect ourselves, and we were told they couldn't give us that advice. Well, okay, I hope that it never happens here to any of the churches. And for a definition of a refuge city, go to Numbers 35 in the Bible. Thank you. I appreciate this opportunity.
Next up is Randy Peck.
Good evening, Council. The sanctuaries issue is a nothing burger. I don't care if you're left, right, or independent. The question has already been answered in Arizona versus United States and the 10th Amendment, also Washington law. Arizona held that local officers can't be immigration officers. The 10th Amendment says the federal government can't commandeer your resources. The question about warrants is simple. Is the warrant judicial, criminal warrant, or administrative warrant? If judicial criminal warrant, our normal process of assisting any agency in execution of that warrant is allowed, as is our current method, whatever that may be. If they come and ask, you'll have to decide. If an administrative warrant, it's the federal government's duty to enforce it. We don't have to exist. And that's, again, a question. If an individual who has committed a crime, has been convicted, served their time, and no longer under the control of the Department of Corrections, they are no different than you and me. The action by the federal government to apprehend them is then under administrative warrant and therefore not a concern of our personnel. We only need the mayor to establish city policy and communicate it to staff. There need not be any type of declaration, resolution, or anything else regarding the use of local resources. Our local resources are limited. Police should be doing their regular duties enforcing state and local law. Our fire and EMS should be handling our local needs. If the federal government needs resources, they should bring their own. They can hire private and or military ambulances and bring them along with all of the rest of their 3,000, as in Milwaukee, with a department that only had 600 officers. As an example, the federal government isn't going to reimburse us or provide backup of resources needed to provide our normal level of service. This is common sense. The mayor simply follows the current state law and sets our policies only to provide services to our community, not to them. Thank you.
We will go ahead and take a 5-minute break at this point. We are also in the process of setting up a second podium to try to facilitate people to get there faster and make it easier for those walking. Thank you. Be back in 5. We will go ahead and reconvene the meeting. We talked about decorum earlier, and I have been receiving complaints that people sitting behind others are constantly talking. They are commenting about the speakers, and I am still hearing applause. The idea of public comment is to respect and listen to everybody without judgment. Applause, those are applauding, are giving a positive judgment. Those not are giving a negative. We really need you to respect other people. If there is someone behind you that is disruptive, or if they are continuing their applause, please raise your hand and I will give them a warning. After 2 warnings, they will be escorted out. It is important. You can see how many people came here today. They came here to listen. They came here to be heard. and everyone deserves that right. We'll now continue with public comment.
All right, before I call the next name, we're going to try to speed this up a little bit. I want to thank the Convention Center staff. They've added a second podium. So there's a podium here to your right and a podium over to your left. So you can pick the podium that's closest to you. I'm also going to read the name of who's next. So I'll read the person that's going to come up, and then who's, I think it's a sports term, who's on deck. That might be the next word. So who's next? That way that person can start moving into position. Perhaps they want to go to the other podium, or they could start getting standing up and moving over. All right. The next speaker is Charlie Austin, and Nancy Milliman, you're on deck. So Charlie Austin with Nancy Milliman on deck.
Well, thank you very much, council members and chief of police. Basically, I wrote a letter to you guys all, and I wanted to come here and see you face to face. And really, I don't think my opinion's changed. I'm still of the opinion that a sanctuary city status or symbol would not be good for Ocean Shores. Fortunately, I've always felt very comfortable here. This is the most peaceful place I've ever lived. It beats the South Hill of Puyallup. It beats North Long Beach, California, a block from Compton. It beats a lot of places. So with that, I'm just, my fear would be that with the nefarious characters and some of the extra responsibilities and the strain on the community, we would be neglecting what we're really here to do. And that is to make our community better. Go get to know your neighbors, agree to disagree. So with that, I'm still a big no on the sanctuary city status. Thank you.
All right, next up is Nancy Milliman and Jane Shattuck. You're on deck.
Good evening, everyone. Nancy Milliman, homeowner in Ocean Shores for 25 years. Our United States Constitution is the supreme law of the land and refers to the highest legal authority in the United States, established by Article 6, Clause 2 of the U.S. Constitution, commonly known as the Supremacy Clause. This means the following are considered the supreme law of the land: the U.S. Constitution itself, federal laws passed in accordance with the Constitution, and treaties made under the authority of the United States. The Supremacy Clause also binds all state and city judges and officials to uphold federal law, even if state constitutions or local laws contradict it. The foundational doctrine maintains the balance of power between federal and state governments and upholds the integrity of the constitutional system. Our federal government has legal immigration policies and procedures. Previously, someone stated that the 10th Amendment guarantees local control. That is absolutely incorrect. According to numerous instances of case law, the end result is that the state and/or city governments are not required to assist federal authorities in detaining illegal immigrants. However, local governments may not impede their process or contradict federal law. Chief Logan made a statement to that effect tonight. Historically, enforcing immigration law is not a new concept. Just in 2014, President Obama stated, "We all agree on securing the border. Illegal immigrants disrespect those who follow the law, who follow the legal process." And in the 1995 State of the Union address, President Bill Clinton stated, in reference to illegal immigrants, "The public services they use impose burdens on our taxpayers. That's why my administration has moved aggressively to secure our borders by hiring a record number of border guards, by deporting twice as many criminal aliens as ever before, by cracking down on illegal hiring, and by borrowing welfare benefits to illegal aliens." Council members, I appreciate your service and believe the city will benefit when you focus on your core responsibilities: setting policy, overseeing our budgets, and ensuring accountability. I encourage you to prioritize these duties so we can build a more effective and responsible local government, and flourishing community. Thank you.
All right, Jane Shattuck, you're up next, and it's Jim M. It looks like McCaffley would be on deck. You're on deck, Jim, but Jane, you're next.
Good evening, Council. I want to thank Chief Logan for your statement. Councilmember Dooley, you made some great points. I have a lot more points, but most of them have already been made. I just want to remind us that the primary responsibilities of the Ocean Shore City Council are fiscal stewardship and sound lawmaking, adopting responsible budgets and enacting ordinances that are clear, enforceable, and legally defensible. Council action must remain within the city's jurisdiction, focusing on matters where local government has authority and can produce measurable outcomes for residents. There is a lot more to this, but I want to add that I have felt safe here. I support law enforcement 100%. All law enforcement. I support the laws of the United States. My biggest concern is when we make symbolic statements, it does create an influx. It's proven in many other locations where they have deemed themselves sanctuary cities. Local service providers, just at our last council meeting, the food bank made a statement, and they already expressed how they have an influx. We cannot handle that in our small town. You think about housing, you think about infrastructure. If declaring a sanctuary status could reasonably be expected to increase population demand or require expanded services funded by local tax dollars, that long-term fiscal commitment should be presented to voters for approval through a ballot measure so the decision reflects the will of the entire community. As Councilmember Wills says, this is a decision of the council. I don't believe it is. I believe it is a decision of the community, and something this important that could impact us taxpayers should be taken to a ballot for vote if you want to proceed forward. Thank you.
All right, the next is Jim M., and you'll have to say your whole name. I'm sorry, I didn't get it. And on deck is
Metcalf.
April Swenson.
My wife and I have been in the beautiful Ocean Shores community now just over 2 years, and we found this is a very welcoming community. We want to support the police force and the city council, but we are adamantly against having this considered a sanctuary city. I hope that you would consider. Myself and many of my friends are against this, so thank you very much for the chance to say.
Okay, up is April Swenson with PJ Faria on deck. All right, I'm sorry we didn't get to hear from April, so that means PJ. Good thing you were headed up there. PJ is next. And on deck is Otis Warren.
Good evening, Chief Logan, council, and members of the community. Thank you all so much for being here. This is an amazing turnout. This morning, my husband and I spent the morning watching the angel families being recognized at the White House. These are families who have lost loved ones to crimes committed by people in the country unlawfully, people who have come here unlawfully. Their loss is real and deserves our compassion. I am here to urge you to reject any effort to declare Ocean Shores a sanctuary city. Large cities such as Chicago, Seattle, Portland, and San Francisco have far greater resources than our small coastal community. And look at what a mess they are. Common sense tells us not to do this. Ocean Shores is a unique community. We have a large senior population, and a number of residents live here part-time. So, as mentioned previously, a number of homes are not occupied year-round. Having sanctuary city status brings in squatters and other potential homeless people in need of shelter to these uninhabited homes. That reality will place community safety and emergency response at a limited capacity. Our first responders, law enforcement, and city infrastructure must be able to serve the residents we already have. Expanding policies that strain those resources is not responsible governance for our community. We have a safe, compassionate, and well-managed city. By declaring Ocean Shores a sanctuary city, this would destroy all that we love about our beach town where we all live comfortably. Please reject this designation, and I thank you for your time.
Okay, Otis Warren is next, and Mike Aviola is next.
Hi, my name is Otis Warren. I'm from Ocean Shores. I've been here since 2013, and I service most of the veterans in this town. And I'm going to be honest with you. As veterans, take a look at your brothers that died protecting this country. Do you really want to have a country where you have nothing but Hispanics, from Honduras and other cities and towns and countries coming in and destroying your states and your whole USA? Yeah, I'm talking to one person, and he knows who it is. But my whole stand on this, with a lot of the veterans I've talked to, we are against the sanctuary city all the way, and we will fight to stop it. Thank you.
All right, so April, we have Mike next, and I'm sorry I didn't say your last name correct. And April Hensley is on deck.
Michael Volio, live in Ocean Shores, had property here for 10 years, and been living here for 8. On the lighter side of everything here tonight, if I could just take 1 second here. How about freaking hockey teams for the United States of America bringing home gold? 2 golds for this country. Isn't that something? I mean, come on. If that can't bring you all together and make you be happy to be a citizen of this country, nothing's going to make you happy.
Applause only allowed for hockey teams.
Thank you, Lord. Okay, getting back to business. I'm saying no to the sanctuary city. I'm not against immigration. I am for legal immigration. And an example I have of legal immigration is my wife. She's been here 25 years. She immigrated here legally from the Philippines. And she came here, she got her green card, she got her permanent green card. 5 years later, she was a citizen. She got a degree, became a medical assistant, and has been working for 25 years in that field. And she's one of the best in her field. So we're not against immigration. What we are against is illegal immigration, and especially when it lets in criminals that don't belong in this country. We left those border gates open. Millions upon millions upon millions of people came in this country. Who's flipping the bill for all those people? We are, the American taxpayer. That's our money, okay? And I don't like it. I don't like them taking our money from us. We worked hard. We paid taxes all our life. We paid Social Security all our life. We paid Medicare all our life. And then these little illegals come in here and they get places to stay. They get health care. They get food. I mean, they get everything. And we got vets on the streets, homeless. We've got drug problems rampant in this country. Just drive down Aberdeen any day and you see it. They're everywhere. We need to take care of our own. And until we can learn to take care of our own, we got to quit worrying about taking care of everybody else's problems. I say no to sanctuary city.
Okay, Gordon, and then after Gordon is Rebecca Berkey.
Gordon Mitchell. I'm in Elahi. I, too, am a former member of the law enforcement. I am also a Marine Corps veteran. During those times that I spent as both a police officer and as a Marine Corps member, I swore an absolute oath to this country that I would protect against those who wish to come here and do harm, both foreign and domestic. I'm not sure the words that you use. What part of illegal are we not able to understand? What part of people coming into our country and doing some very nasty things. We've already heard about the rapes, the murders, the child abductions. One of the things that hasn't been mentioned is the amount of illegal or amount of drugs that come into this country that have cost hundreds of thousands of lives. I can tell you that I am directly affected by the illegal problem here. One of my 5 sons was killed. He died at age 38 years old due to the illegal problem that we have in this country. On the other side of things for Ocean Shores, let me tell you something. It may be symbolism to have the idea of a sanctuary city, but that symbolism, that name, that moniker is going to go out publicly. This town gets an awful lot of, this is a destination tourist town. It's a place where people come to try and get some, I don't know, some relaxation, to feel safe. Look at what we have down at the beach. We have all kinds of different things going on at the convention center. As soon as it gets out to the general public that we are going to be a sanctuary city, I guarantee you the amount of conventions that you have in this town are going to go down. I can guarantee you the number of people who come out here to Ocean Shores to visit is going to decrease. They don't want to come to some place that they have to worry whether or not their children are going to be safe. They're not going to want to come someplace where they can take and be able to have a time. Thank you.
All right, so next is Rebecca Berkey with Jimmy Cummins is on deck.
Hello, everyone. I'm Rebecca, and I've listened to everyone. I myself adamantly oppose the sanctuary city. And when I first started thinking, do I want to come to this meeting, I looked up sanctuary. And in my opinion, a lot of the states that have turned to sanctuary cities, they're breaking the golden law. Sanctuary is only to be churches or other sacred places, arrest or asylum. Fugitives are afforded refuge only in such places. And that would be a church, a temple, a shrine, altar, sanctum, or adium. So I knew what the last 2 words, I didn't know what they meant, so I looked about that. Sanctum, especially a private place or retreat, once again, sacred. Adium, once again, a sacred place, which the public might not enter, an inner shrine. I do not believe any city is allowed to be a sanctuary city because they're breaking the golden rule. That's all I have to say.
So next is Jimmy Cummins and John Arbuckle. You're on deck.
My first 20 years of living in this town, I served as a volunteer at the Ocean Shores Food Bank. I watched it grow from serving 40 families in distribution to now to 6 times that amount. A large number of those are people that need access, needs initial help, don't speak the language. They come in, they get all kinds of groceries. We do not in any way turn anyone away. That's not the volunteers that we do. I've been at the Grace Harbor Hospital, waiting in line for my own self for emergency care, waiting in line, wondering if they're going to make it, and going to be alive, as people ahead of me, not speaking English language, nothing, waited in line, and knowing that people cannot get through that line, and knowing that people's own insurances are going up because the Grace Harbor Hospital has to pay for itself, and most of those people do not pay a single penny. I spent a good portion of my life as a teacher, an educator, retired from that profession. I have seen all kinds of, my school district have taken all kinds of funds for ESL and other type of services. They took away from other programs that kids are going to have. If you think it's just going to be the government fund monies, they're determined here as being bad or whatever, gone, you're wrong. It affects the entire community. It affects all of us in a very, very direct manner. Obviously, I'm opposed to this. Thank you.
All right, so John Arbuckle is next. John Arbuckle. Okay, last call for John. All right, so we're going to go next with Sylvia Fain and Kat Kaywood. You are on deck. Sylvia Fain, Kat Kaywood on deck.
Hello. Thank you so much for having this. I have to say, a lot of you will blame me for having this whole thing, but I'm excited about this because look at all the people that are looking into what a sanctuary city is. They are looking at politics that they probably don't normally look at. And so this is a win. Whether we become a sanctuary city or not, we are a sanctuary state. We have a lot of protections there. And I think the biggest thing is just to make a statement, have comments. And honestly, if those comments and statements by our city would have already been out there, I don't think we'd have this meeting right now. It's just that nobody knows. Nobody said anything much, about it as a city. And as a city, these are important things. And I know a lot of you are against it, but I could tell you offhand on my right hand right now of 5 people that aren't here because they're afraid. They're not going to come out. They are terrified of ICE. And I think we have to consider the safety of all of our community, not just the people that think a sanctuary city is going to bring in criminals. There's no proof of that. There's no documentation of that. And I'm sorry, I'm talking. But I do feel that, we have to look at everything, and the safety of our community includes the people that live here right now. And I appreciate everything the police do. I think they're great in this town. But I had a daughter call me a few days ago in tears because her teenage kids, my grandchildren, were coming with their phones saying, "Mom, what's this? Who do we trust? ICE? Who do we run to? The police? They all look the same. We don't know who's safe." What about our kids? Has anybody even thought about, what is the high school doing? What are they doing about this? Those kids are going to be so messed up. And all their leaders now, even, higher up, they're hearing all about criminal behavior and sexual assault. You're talking about rape. I mean, come on, just look at our administration. So I do feel that we have to consider our own community. And that just doesn't include, because we might get criminals here. We're not going to get criminals here. Nobody wants to house criminals. That's not part of it. It is to ensure the safety of our people. Thank you.
All right, so
just a reminder again, whether it is applause or groaning or comments, every single speaker deserves to be listened to with respect. Please hold your comments.
So next is Kat Kaywood, and on deck is Antonia Epic.
Good evening, council members and Chief Logan. I want to respond directly to 3 questions kind of raised about this: authority, necessity, and impact. So authority in Washington is a sanctuary state under the Keep Washington Work Act. That law already governs how local agencies interact with federal immigration enforcement. While immigration policy is federal, how Ocean Shores uses its own resources is absolutely within the council's authority. Your control whether city staff, police buildings, and tax dollars are used to assist civil immigration enforcement. Clarifying that we will follow state law and voluntarily assist ICE is not an overreach. It's a responsible governance. Sorry, I'm not used to talking in front of people. As far as necessity, we're being told this isn't necessary because policies are already in place. If that's true, then putting those protections into a public resolution should not be controversial. Right now, families are uncertain. Parents are wondering what happens if agents come to our school. Hotel workers are wondering what happens if agents show up at their jobs. Residents are asking whether masked officers could operate here without identification. Internal policy is not the same as a public commitment. A resolution provides clarity and reassurance. And to be clear, this is not about protecting criminals. Violent crime is still prosecuted. Warrants are still honored. What's being restricted under state law is voluntary cooperation and civil immigration enforcement, and that distinction matters. And the third part is impact. Public safety depends on trust. If members of our community are afraid to call the police, report crimes, or cooperate as witnesses, safety goes down, not up. We are a tourism town. Many of the people who keep our hotels, restaurants, and businesses running are immigrant workers. When they feel unsafe or uncertain, that affects our whole community. This is not just symbolism, it's transparency. It says clearly, we will follow Washington law. We will not use local resources for federal civil immigration enforcement. We expect lawful identification and adherence to state standards, and our schools and city faculties are places of safety. Uncertainty creates division. Clarity builds trust. We are not asking the city to fight the federal government. We are asking the city to clearly state how it will operate within Washington law and protect the well-being of everyone who lives and works here.
That's time. So next up is Antonia Eppig, and Dave Eppig is on deck.
Hello, I'm Antonia Eppig. I've been in Ocean Shores, living here for going on 6 years now. I am against Ocean Shores being designated a sanctuary city. The symbolism of this designation is not necessary. Our state has already done this. The city designation would take away resources, infrastructure, cause confusion, and decisiveness. Our city would not benefit from this symbolic designation. Thank you.
Okay, so Dave Eppig is next, and on deck is Jennifer Herbersheimer.
Thank you for letting me make comments. I want to thank you all for all your statements up there today, and especially Chief Logan. Really appreciate your words here. I am opposed for Sanctuary City. I've been down here with my wife here 7 years. Working up in proper Seattle in the construction industry for 40 years. And I watched firsthand what happened to that city. I was born and raised in Kirkland. Went to Seattle when I was young. I watched how that city just tore itself down. And just got to live by the laws. And I don't think we're not out to believe in legal migration is fine. If somebody causes a crime, does something, we just need to arrest them. We need to take care of them, move them out of the country if they're illegal. It's as simple as that. We just have common sense. And our town is just fine. We all take care of each other. And I want to be a good neighbor to everybody. And just let's leave it as it is. Thank you.
So we have Jennifer Herbersheimer is next, and then Vincent Hedrick is on deck.
It's Jennifer Herbolzheimer, and I'm an Ocean Shores resident. I'm also an immigrant. I arrived in this country on, sorry, I've got a bit of a tickle in my throat. I arrived in this country on December 19th, 2016 with an IR1 immigrant visa, and I spent over 5 years in the immigration system, for want of a better word, from my husband's initial petition for me until I became a naturalized citizen on March 22nd, 2021. but I prefer to call it when I became an American by choice. When I did that, I had to recite an oath of allegiance when I became a citizen, and part of that was to respect all of the laws of the land and to support the Constitution. And my issue with sanctuary city status, as has already been said by many people, the state is already a sanctuary state, so all we're doing basically is window dressing by adding something that's unnecessary. But the only people that really need the sanctuary are those who are doing something wrong, to put it quite simply. And when I made my pledge to follow the laws, one of the laws that we have to follow is not harbouring fugitives from justice. But a lot of what I wanted to say has already been said, so I won't go over old ground, but please add my voice to the sound of the crowd. But there is something, there have been a lot of comments circulating in city council meetings and online and so on about immigration being a civil matter and people saying things like no person is illegal, but that's not completely correct. Being out of status or unlawful presence are civil matters, i.e. people who are here may even have entered legally, but have found themselves then going out of status by overstay or doing something that conflicts with the parameters of their visa, such as working when they don't have work permission, that kind of thing. But unlawful entry, coming into the country without inspection or by making false claims, using false documents and so on, they are most definitely criminal matters. That's Title 8, Paragraph 1325 of the US Code. And re-entry after deportation is a felony under Paragraph 1326 as well. And all immigrants know this. So this whole thing about we're just protecting people and so on, it's not true. Also, this goes beyond the scope of the responsibility of our city council. Our city council is here to deal with city matters, finance and safety, public safety, and things that benefit and bring results to the citizens.
That's time.
Thank you.
So Vincent Hedrick, you're next, and making your way ready on deck is Robert Clodfelter.
And just a reminder, when we say someone is on deck, we would really appreciate if whoever is up next would take the microphone and the next person would go to the other podium. We really are trying to increase the throughput here so everybody is heard. So thank you.
So last call for Vincent Hedrick. Okay, next is Robert Clodfelter. Robert. Okay, let's move on to Jeff Wolderit. Jeff Wolderitz. Okay, I'm going to keep on moving. I got all yes, Jeff, yay! And the next on deck is Taylor. I thought it said Taylor Swift, and I got all excited, but I don't know what it is. It's Taylor Priest. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you. My name is Jeff Woldridge. I'm a full-time resident here at Ocean Shores, and I'll keep it short and sweet. I just want to say I'm adamantly opposed to being a sanctuary city.
All right, Taylor Priest is next, and on deck is Melissa Smith.
Hello, Council, citizens of Ocean Shores. Thank you for this time. I want to begin by saying that I find it really tragic that in 2006, people of color are being painted as criminals. It turns my stomach to hear bigots stand here using phrases like protect our own. It's clear that the people against a sanctuary city didn't read the packet. The only people making racist statements standing here at this podium spoke against the idea. Ask Chief Logan about the law if you don't understand it. Being undocumented doesn't mean someone is a criminal. If you're concerned about community safety, I suggest you check religious organizations. The profile of a child molester is a white man who hides behind religion. There weren't many non-white faces in this crowd. I wonder if this is possibly because people of color don't feel so safe being out in the community. I know for a fact that that's true because I've spoken with many of them. The police chief seems to not be the only person offended tonight. I'm offended by the councilwoman who reminisced about the good old days when everyone got along. Bigotry divides us, let's just say it like it is. That's the only reason we can't agree on this issue. I'm not friendly to bigots. I find a white person lecturing people of color that they should feel safe to be offensive. The point of a resolution, and I believe Councilmember Will's point, rather than insulting the police, was to say that the proclamation would potentially reassure our vulnerable citizens. I find the comments of the council member who sat there, a white person, telling people of color that they should feel, how they should feel, what they should feel, highly offensive. I'm also offended by a council member who announces on social media that his mind is made up before we even get to this meeting. His input to this discussion was nothing other than his usual platitudes, and his opinion on this matter should not register because he made his mind up and announced it ahead of time. One council member made a point of saying OSPD won't stop ICE. What about when ICE violates the law? Will OSPD protect vulnerable people here when ICE violates the law? That's the question I have for Chief Logan. I believe she answered it and said yes, but I'd like another reassurance because once some people spoke, I had a question about that. Thank you.
All right, so next is Melissa Smith, and on deck is Paul Winchester.
I want to thank Chief Logan and the City Council for us coming together and having this discussion. 20 reasons out of thousands why myself and my husband are adamantly opposed to Ocean Shores becoming a sanctuary city. Jocelyn Nungary, age 12, raped and murdered. Gloria Casio, age 53, killed in a car crash. Ruby Garcia, age 25, murdered. Washington State Patrolman Christopher Gadd, age 27, vehicular homicide and assault. Travis Wolf, age 12, killed in a car crash. Alex Wise, age 10, struck by a truck. Lisbeth Medina, age 16, aggravated sexual assault and murdered. Jeremy Poo Caceres, age 2, caught in crossfire. Laken Riley, age 22, kidnapped, aggravated sexual assault, killed. Riordan Powell, age 16, killed in a DUI crash along with his mother, Melissa Powell, age 47. Aiden Clark, age 11, killed when his school bus was struck by a truck. Rachel Moran, age 37, raped and murdered. Jose Alejandro Alvarado, convicted of sexual assault on a child. Roberto Antonio Cabrero Garcia, arrested for 3 counts of child sexual assault in Texas. Carlos Ubens Cortez Lopez, sentenced for unlawful sexual intercourse with a minor and possession of child pornography. Misael de Jesus Granodas Chavez, convicted of child sexual assault in North Carolina. Mohamed Sase from Sierra Leone, convicted of a second-degree rape and sexual offense of a child. Jefferson Pineda de Velasquez, convicted of aggravated child sexual assault in Texas. These vicious assaults, rapes, and murders would have never happened if the people involved were not in the United States illegally and protected under sanctuary city or sanctuary state status in many instances. And Debbie and Mike Tyner, the horrific story you shared about your granddaughter is gut-wrenching. Please know that your family is always in our prayers. Thank you.
All right, so Paul Winchester is next, followed by, on deck, Cheryl Winchester.
Yeah, thank you for giving me this opportunity. I wanted to speak about not hypotheticals or fears or anxieties, but things that actually have happened to me. I'm currently a resident of Ocean Shores and previously a resident of Seattle for 25 years and seen what happens there with symbolic things. And believe me, they're not good. I experienced a number of break-ins, assaults, thefts, drug use on my property, passed out people, and it wasn't just one skin color. It's not brown people. It's all races, all colors. So we can stop that nonsense. Yeah, you know, these symbols have more than just a symbolic gesture. And we don't need to go down the slippery slope of what political narrative it is this year. And are we going to do another resolution next year for the next narrative? It's just not necessary. I'm against it.
Okay, so Cheryl Winchester is next, and on deck is Eleanor Dorman.
I echo what my husband Paul just said. Sanctuary city, even a symbolic one, that's a hard no for me and just about everybody I've met here in the last 2 years. And I'll tell you why. It's because I was born and raised in Seattle, Washington, which I used to be very proud to say, very proud. I'm not so proud anymore. I hide from people when they ask me where I'm from, where I was born. I don't want to tell them. You know why? Because my life was miserable the last 6 years there. We were almost terrorized in our own home. The reason we're here today is because the dream home that my husband built me in Seattle, Washington, well, I guess I'll just tell you the final straw. There's too many things to say in 3 minutes. The final straw was somebody lit my cat on fire on Christmas Eve. It broke my heart, so I lost my house, my home. My husband thankfully, has skills and built me a new home here. He said, this will be the place. Ocean Shores is the place for you, honey. So here we are 2 years later, and then I hear the word sanctuary city. And I'll tell you what that makes me want to do. It makes me see red. I'm mad. Who even brought this up? Who brought this up? Look what is going on around the country. You can see it on every news station. I don't want it. And nobody I know that I've met here so far does either. Thank you.
So Eleanor Dorman is next, and on deck is Tracy Farrell.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm sorry that we even have to discuss becoming a sanctuary city. This serves to divide an obviously already divided community. We have witnessed a council meeting where the mayor had to call for a timeout because of unruly behavior, which stemmed from national politics. In the 23 years I have lived here, this has never happened until now. It's a sad day for this community when I have people telling me they're afraid to come and discuss this with you because of repercussions. This alone should concern all of us. The chances of ICE coming to Ocean Shores in large number are slim to none unless we invite illegal immigrants to come here, by becoming a sanctuary city. If by chance they need to come here to pick someone up, I would expect they be allowed to do their jobs without harassment. Thank you, Chief, for clarifying those items. Regardless of personal political beliefs, we don't get to pick and choose which laws we're going to follow. The chances of any federal grants being offered to Ocean Shores are slim to none if we become a sanctuary city. We're already a sanctuary state. What would we gain? No one with the best interest of Ocean Shores in mind would put us in that position. Local governments should avoid taking sides on national issues, which only contributes to division and conflict. I suggest you put aside this issue and get back to working on the many local concerns you already have on your agenda. And I would like to add, I am not afraid of ICE, as I'm not afraid of our local police. What I am afraid of is the chaos that occurs when people interfere with ICE doing their jobs. That's what I fear the most. Let's not bring that to Ocean Shores. Thank you.
So Tracy Farrell is next, and on deck is Rick Beveridge.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak to you today. I am a common sense person. We are a country that follows rule of law. Coming into the country illegally is breaking the law. Simple. If somebody is here and ICE has a warrant for them, I expect that the warrant be executed and local law enforcement, unfortunately, in this case, in this state, is not allowed. If we want to change that law, we have to change the politicians in Olympia. And I am adamantly against the sanctuary status, and it causes the sanctuary status itself causes division in the community. So therefore, I'm adamantly opposed.
So next up is Rick Beveridge, and on deck is Jim, last name starts with an F, Fundina. Rick, last call for Rick. So Jim, and I'm sorry that I couldn't read your last name, Jim. Jim F, and please let us know what it is. And on deck is Susan Connery.
It's Jim Funderburg. I live in here for 18 months now. First thing I want to say is I find it offensive that out of a 3-hour format, you guys take up a third of it or a full hour, with the only pertinent comments coming from Kurt Dooley and Chief Logan. You all repeated the same things over and over and over again and just sucked up the time. Okay, that being said, I'm against the sanctuary city. I own a house here. I own a house in Burien, which you brought up. I've owned that house in Burien and lived there for 50 years. And since 2017, its crime has went up. Homelessness went up. Gangs have went up. It's just a mess. And the whole country's a mess. But I see no reason for sanctuary city here. Yes, I believe that if you cross the border illegally, you are a criminal. I don't like the designation, but you put that onus on yourself. I've had over 400 immigrants working for me, mostly Hispanic, over the years. And most of them were hard-working, good family people. They weren't illegal criminals. They were just people who wanted a better life. And I supported them. And I knew they were illegal. But that being said, I thoroughly believe coming into the United States illegally is a crime, and you should be deported. Thank you.
All right, next is Susan Connery. With on deck is Norman Olt.
Thank you, Council. Susan Canary. At the request of members of this council, I provided a draft resolution for your consideration. I did so in response to a question already before you. How do we keep our community safe while respecting the boundaries of federal authority? That is a governance question. It can be framed in constitutional terms, public safety terms, or local control terms. When it becomes partisan theater, the oxygen shifts from substance to sides. Leadership requires listening without prejudgment. It requires creating space for participation, even when we disagree. If our goal is to protect residents from overzealous federal action while maintaining the rule of law, then we should be able to examine language, ask hard questions, and debate the merits without reducing it to party lines. When civic engagement is discouraged or framed as partisan, our community shrinks. We all lose when ideas are judged by who presents them rather than by their substance. I will continue to participate in good faith, even when I am disagreed with or mischaracterized. That is what healthy democracy requires. Please put partisan politics aside and return to the question before you. How best to safeguard the people you serve while respecting the boundaries of federal authority? Thank you.
So next is Norman Olt with Jamie Raleigh on deck.
First of all, thank you for this opportunity. We've been in Ocean Shores for approximately a decade and a half, but this is my first time at a city council meeting. So, Washington is a sanctuary state. I think that describes Olympia in a nutshell. Frankly, and I'm directing this to the council, I find it a bit hard to appreciate any individual, regardless of how well-intentioned or sadly misguided, with any current or future political ambition or aspirations, who would choose to support what I believe to be such an unwise, unfounded, self-destructive, needlessly dangerous, ill-advised, and what I believe to ultimately be illegal civic policy. Unless, of course, there was some desire to somehow emulate those most notable failures of a so-called sanctuary city, like our neighbor to the northeast, the current absolute urban disaster known as the city of Seattle. As an alternative, might I suggest we consider somehow establishing Ocean Shores as the only current leper colony on the continental United States. We could even dub it Molokai East on the left coast. Many, I'm sure, would say Norm, but it's unlikely we have any current victims, any of those suffering from Hansen's disease in Ocean Shores, and I would say you're absolutely correct. But at least we would not be actively encouraging, soliciting, or enabling criminal non-citizens to establish residency in Ocean Shores, which I believe to be greatly to the detriment of our community. I appreciate your kind attention.
Okay, Jamie Raleigh is next, and Charles Raleigh is on deck. Jamie, last call for Jamie. I'm going to guess Charles is also not here, but we'll see. Jamie and Charles. All right, we're moving on. Frank Herbersheimer, you are next. Frank Herbersheimer, followed by on deck Gail McNeely. So Frank left. Gail McNeely. Gail's in the house. Gail's coming on up. And on deck is Michael Duncan. So if people are saying Michael's not here, so on deck will be Carrie Woodridge.
I'm Gail McNeely. I lived here for 5 years, and I am truly against becoming a sanctuary city. Thank you.
Thank you. So that was Gail McNeely. We think that Michael Duncan left. Carrie Woodridge. So while we look for Carrie Woodridge, Rob Shaver. Okay, we're moving on. Dennis Burns. Okay, Dennis. Nope. Okay, Mark Wilkinson. Okay, we're going to try this name. Greg Schism. Schism. Yay, Greg Schism. Coming on up. And on deck is Chi Onan. Charles Onan is next. But let's go with Greg.
My name's Greg Schism, and I'm opposed to Sanctuary City. I was also from Berrien, and as soon as it became as soon as Burien became sanctuary city, I noticed an uptick in crime levels, and my own personal property and house and my neighbors. I'm not saying it's all illegals doing this, but it seems to be a magnet. And I mean, graffiti and garbage and breaking into my cars and mailboxes and stolen cars in my front yard and on and on and on. I mean, you know, I hear gunshots a lot, and the police are affected because when the crime rate goes up, they're spread so thin. And I'd made calls, you know, hey, someone's getting their car broken into or whatever, and they can't show up because they're over on the other side of the town and you know, responding to a different call. And I'm not saying that's all due to illegals, but, you know, it just seems like it created a magnet. And you know, there was homeless and a lot of drugs. People that died in front of City Hall from drug overdoses. People were demanding storming onto the blood bank van, demanding to get needles out of the van. They were like, "Give me some needles," you know. The drug users and the blood bank people were like, "Whoa, you know, where's the police?" And on and on. So I'm against sanctuary city, and I get tired of the race card. One of my best friends was Hispanic, Miguel, that lived right next to me, and we got along great, and he was my good friend. But we moved here to get away. We moved here to get away from that kind of thing, you know, and we don't want to see it here. So I didn't have a prepared speech, but.
All right, and I'm going to apologize again for this, trying to read this name, because it looks like Shay Onan. Okay, next up would be John Trujillo. John Trujillo. While John is coming up, thank you, John, Kathy Reed is on deck.
Thanks for giving me the opportunity to speak. If you're a legal citizen, if you're an immigrant that came to the United States legally, you have nothing to fear. Okay, I came to this country in 1961 with my mother and father. I was not 1 year old, and I came here legally and am a legal U.S. citizen. Anybody that says we're afraid of ICE, we're afraid of the authorities, we're afraid of the federal government, if they're here illegally, they should be afraid. Okay? There's nothing that we need to worry about in Ocean Shores. And by taking on the sanctuary city designation, all we are doing is inviting an element that we do not need here. Sanctuary for whom? Sanctuary for those people who are going to commit crimes in our community. Who wants to have that kind of element in our community? We have senior citizens here. We have properties that are half the time vacant. If I'm a criminal, if I'm an illegal alien criminal, this is a gold mine. I have plenty of subjects to rip off, and I have plenty of places to commit crime. We do not need to make this a sanctuary city where we invite that sort of element. And again, the people that say that we want to stop having fear in our community are being naive. People that are here legally, whether they're Hispanic, yellow, black, purple, it doesn't matter. They have nothing to fear. Thank you. No to sanctuary city.
All right, so Kathy Reed is coming up. Thank you, Kathy. And Charles Reed, you are on deck.
Kathy Reed, I'm going to speak for both my husband Charles and I. We're both, we've been here for 3 years. We're full-time residents, and we're both adamantly against sanctuary city. Thank you.
All right. And thank you for speaking for your husband. I appreciate that. And so our last in-person public comment is Scotty Winters. Scotty Winters. All right. Don't get too excited because we have online public comment. Not as many as signed up in person, but we do have some online. And we're going to need some assistance from that from Nicole. But we have 2 online public comments. The first up is Gina Rollins. Okay, we are working on Gina, but Dawn is online. So with Nicole's help, we'll have Dawn Williams.
Okay, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Go.
Okay, thank you very much. I've submitted some notes, but I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak here and express my opposition to Ocean Shores becoming a sanctuary city. The main reason is that enforcement of United States immigration laws is the responsibility of the federal government, not local police, and that the United States Constitution, through its supremacy clause, prohibits any local or state entity from interfering with or constraining such enforcement. Washington State is a sanctuary state. Existing RCWs are in place that control how local governments interface with federal agencies charged with immigration enforcement. There's no need for any further local action, and such actions add nothing to the safety of Ocean Shores citizens. It will only divide the community further than it's already divided. At the January 27th council meeting, Councilmember Wills declared there is a public need and there are advantages, those are his words, to becoming a sanctuary city because the state is already a sanctuary state. Mr. Wills needs to show the citizens what this public need is. What are the advantages and how being a sanctuary city benefits us in any way? There simply isn't any public need, no advantages, and life won't change in any way if you make Ocean Shores a sanctuary city. The city has an excellent police force, and I have no doubt of its capability, along with county and state law enforcement partners, to ensure the safety of every citizen in Ocean Shores. I welcome federal enforcement to do its job as necessary. Without its presence, I feel less safe. It's disappointing to me that proponents of sanctuary city status appear to prioritize the protection of criminals over local citizens. There should be no compromises in these situations. Last week, I attended the Greater Grays Harbor Incorporated's weekly legislative affairs meeting where our 24th District Senator, State Senator Mike Chapman, said, and these are his words, he said that the state of Washington, in his own words, is the most expensive place in the nation to live. And in every year, more revenue must be found in order to support local social services provided by the state due to increasing population and pressing needs of new residences. People in need are attracted and in fact are encouraged to come to Washington due to its sanctuary status, and the state has opened its citizens' wallets to provide social services to them. The point here is that the citizens of Ocean Shores are paying a high price because Washington is a sanctuary state. The city becoming a sanctuary city can only add to the need for social services that the city is unable to provide. Please consider these points as you discuss sanctuary status. Common sense tells you that it adds nothing to the livability of Ocean Shores and can only make a less desirable place to live. Please reject Mr. Will's proposal. Thank you.
So I'm back to Nicole to see if she got Gina Rollins. I'm supposed to ask Gina to raise your digital hand if you are acknowledging that you're online on Zoom.
Thank you, Council, for taking the time to hear all of us, and hopefully you can hear me. I would like very much to thank you, but I'd also I'm disappointed that it has come to this. I agree with everyone that has said that they're adamantly against, and what happens in Ocean Shores will affect the outlying areas as well. Federal dollars may not come to Ocean Shores for infrastructure that they greatly need. Everything that was said tonight, the undue pressure on the food bank, on social services, all of those things are important. But the most pressing is the fact that this was brought before council as a feel-good opportunity, and it's not. And I hope that you recognize that as many people that have spoken tonight in favor of it, that there were many, many, many more that were not in favor of it. Thank you.
All right, Mayor Pro Tem, I think that concludes public comments.
We made it, and before ending time, and okay, I'll take applause for that. Thank you, Lisa, for getting us through. Before we adjourn, final comments from council. I'll start with Lisa. Lisa Scott.
So I wanted to thank everybody for coming out tonight, and appreciate listening to what everybody had to say, and have a safe night.
Thank you to everyone who came out, and an extra thank you to everyone that stuck it out the whole 3 hours. I appreciate what each of you had to say, not only here in person, but the over 100 emails that I received, and I have read every one of them. And I'm very sorry for the gentleman who felt that what the majority of us set up here at the beginning was a waste of time, because I think what every council member had to say was important.
All right, I have like 20 minutes of prepared remarks. Just kidding, just kidding. I think I'm a type of person that gets caught up in the process and procedures and how things work. And I wish I could get in a time machine and travel back in time to that fateful council meeting when council member Wills made his motion. I became so caught up in his right to make a motion, which is following Robert's rules, orders, and my own passion about how I think city council agendas should be made more transparent, how things get on the agenda, and how we give input publicly in front of everybody for how things get on the agenda, that I lost focus of what council members Will's original motion was, because I would have amended it to be more focused on what is it about our city safety that we need to know about. I would have taken the word sanctuary city out, because I really don't believe this conversation that we had before this started really wasn't about sanctuary city. It's about what are the laws in our state, what are the laws in our town, and how does our police department and our city staff, do they know what those laws are? They do. How are they informed about them, and then how do we follow through on them? So for me, this conversation is about, do we go through a process to make a formal proclamation of what those laws already are? Do we need that to do that? And then I get back, then I might start overthinking, like, well, if we don't do that, are we setting a precedent for never doing any resolutions or proclamations? Because we could fall back to, well, we didn't do it for that. Or do we set the precedent of, well, we did it for that, so now we have to do it for this? So I'm still unclear about what direction I think that we should go, but I do have a lot more information than what I started with, so thank you.
So first, I want to thank everybody who attended, whether online or in person. I truly wanted to hear what everybody had to say. I appreciate what you think, and that influences the direction that I'm going to go, but it doesn't make my mind up. I still have to internalize just what I think. I especially want to thank Mayor Pro Tem Denise Sayers. This has been the best crowd control that I have witnessed in 9 years of going to city council. Denise, just a superb job, and you recognized, gave some slack, but then you must be a school teacher. So, librarian. So I just appreciate. And I also want to thank Chief Logan. I appreciate what she had to say. I have apologized to her that my wording was so inadequate that I didn't accurately convey what I wanted to say. And so anyway, thank you all for participating.
I really have nothing else to add other than what I said in my statement. I appreciate everybody who was here and spoke out. Thank you.
And I also want to thank everybody for their attendance, and not just those for sticking it out, those who came even for part of the meeting. The community engagement and the civil engagement is really important. And the mayor may not agree, but I really do encourage you to come to regular city council meetings. We would love to hear from you. We have a small attendance, but do look at our agendas and find a topic that you're interested in. And even if you don't come to the meeting, please do email us. As Allison already said, we received over 100 emails. I know I have read all of them. I've tried to respond, at least to acknowledge that I've read them. So if I have missed yours, I'm sorry. We have been inundated. But listening to people's viewpoint and listening to their passion on both sides is really important for our community to hear all points of view, even those that you disagree with, because these are our neighbors and we need to respect them. And I thank you for respecting the rules of being civil, of civil discourse, because everybody does need to be listened to and have the opportunity to speak. So I'll also end on the positive note that Michael had mentioned before. Go USA. We got 2 golds in hockey. Allison and I are the hockey fans, both women's and men's hockey. Motion to adjourn.